So, hello everyone. I hope you all are doing excellent at your end. I hope you are having an incredible day. Today, this is our first day of our bootcamp on Microsoft Azure Data Fundamentals DP900. This is Lakshit Pand, your host for today, and I'm DevRel engineer at Reskill, and we are organizing this bootcamp on the behalf of Azure Developer Community. And as a speaker, we have our expert speaker Venkata sir, and he's Microsoft MVP Business Applications C Sharp Corner, Microsoft Valuable Professional, Microsoft Certified Trainer, and he is a multi-face personality having an incredible experience in cloud and data fundamentals field. So he'll be teaching you about the data fundamentals. He will be starting from very scratch to data fundamental certified level, and the syllabus is basically this official syllabus offered by Microsoft itself. So over to you, sir.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you, Lakshit, for giving this opportunity to participate in this particular event as a trainer. So, hi everyone. Let me introduce myself. Already, Lakshit gave you a glimpse of it. Let me share my screen so that I can give a brief about myself. Okay. So, yes, this is. Hope you can see my screen. So this is my introduction. So I have 12, 13 plus years of experience closely now, and I'm in Microsoft Business Applications MVP and also C Sharp Corner MEP. Currently working as a lead software engineer at EPAM Systems, and I'm currently leading D365 Champs user group from Hyderabad region and contributing to the Microsoft as a community contribution. And coming to my areas of expertise, I was into the ASP.NET, C Sharp, and Microsoft Dynamics, and all the Power Platforms here. Along with that, Azure integrations I am also giving, and along with that, I'm a Power Platform architect and also Azure architect as well, and having an experience of close to 13 years by implementing the different kinds of applications. So if you would like to join with me, then so Lakshit will provide you the required details of my social connects and all, and see it. So these are all my accredits, and this is my personal website. So these are all my accredits, and I'm an vivid blocker and as a speaker, and I contribute to the community, and also I did the certifications, and these are all my things and present. So this is my brief introduction about myself. So once before starting my session, if you have any questions, please give it in your comments. At the time, Lakshit will take it forward at the end. So while the presentation is going on, I will be switching off my camera in order to make the concentrate on the content of it. Okay. So just give me a minute. So Lakshit, hope you can see my screen well and good,
Yes, sir.
right?
It's visible. It's perfect visible, sir.
Okay. So coming to just for the module one, so whatever that I'm sharing to you, this is an Microsoft provided content, and this will be up to date, and this will be provided for the Microsoft certified trainers, and this content will be every time it will be updated only. So let us go about. Okay, just I'm aware that. All the participants for this particular bootcamp are from the colleges and the institutions and the universities. So obviously, uh, the main thing, right, the basic thing that you can go through it at any point of time at the Microsoft. So Microsoft has a beautiful community that is present, whether it is in the form of MS Learn, and it has MS Learn in the form of the documentation, and in the form of the videos also we have at the YouTube channel, which are very much dedicated to the Microsoft. And also we do have an active community for your questions, like if you have any queries and all. Microsoft, there are number of community people are present just like me, who will be on top of on your question, which who can help you around the globe, and 24 by 7. Okay, so that is the best thing that I can give you about the Microsoft and its documentation and all. And just again jumping back to here, so probably like in your academics you might have heard about the importance of data. So I'm also not going to uh, as this is in DP900, the Azure fundamentals one, right into so I'm basically concentrating on what is that is present in it, and also I'm not going to go into the deep into the topic and all, but just I would like to give an exposure like what is what that is present. Okay, so like fundamentals of data, you might know about the data. So what is a data, and how these kind of different kinds of data that is present, that we are going to see here. So agenda for here, right? These are the core data concepts and also the data roles and services that we are going to see about. So generally, what is data? Generally, we have the data, which is nothing but right organization organizing any information, organizing the data in a correct manner. You will give it as an information. So this data will be yours of different types. One is structured, semi structured, uh, structured and semi-structured, and also the unstructured. So what do you mean by structured? Structured means you can say the tabular representation of your data, where in your RDMS, RDBMS you might have learnt about it, like the chord rules and all. So any information or any data, if it is represented in a such a way that by looking into that information you can easily extract the uh, crux of it. So if you observe here, this is a customer table. So customer, I have the data like Joe and its last name and his email and his address. So okay, by looking at this particular information and also the data, to make this information as meaningful, in structured way of arranging the data, what it will be, right? Just structured way, imagine it is a table. So a table will have an well organized information that is stored. So every time the customer is having an ID, the first name, last name, email, and then address. So just like any student in your university or a college, you will have an ID and you will have an first name and last name and the email. Obviously your college will having an address. In the same way, the product, so product is an table. In this product table I have the different kinds of things like the hammer, screwdriver, and the wrench and its price. So let us make it as an example in our college. So in our college, in order to buy some kind of textbooks or some kind of lab material, so for any particular lab material there will be some kind of cost that is present. So this product, whatever that I am showing here, this is nothing but your thing. So data as an information, if by looking at that particular information, if you get the total meaningful analysis of that one, that you can call it as in structured. Next is the semi-structured data. What do you mean by semi-structured? Generally, semi-structured data will be represented in the form of JSON. Okay, JSON. So in IT field or in web, you must be well aware, or you should aware of few of the fundamental uh, fundamental formats here. One is the XML, extensible markup language, and also the JSON. Okay, so JSON is an you can say an universal language, where universal format where one can easily get the information of it. So JSON. So if you observe, right, whatever the value that I have in the customer field, that is one Joe Jones and email and address and all, this is a tabular representation. But is in, if you go to the semi-structured, everything you will not have an pictorial representation. It will be in data only. If you see, the first name is Joe, last name is Jones, and his address is this one main street and all these things. And also he is in contact record, it will be like this. In the same way, second record, that is Samir, he is represented in this way in the JSON format. So in data, if anyone says about semi-structured, then you should consider as in JSON. Next, coming to the third way, that is unstructured. So what is unstructured means? Simply data will be present. So by collecting that particular data, you should come in, you should extract the meaningful information of it. Okay, if you observe, right, this one, dear Joe, thank you for ordering your hardware supplies from our online store. Order number is 100,000 and on 1/1/2022. Your order has been shipped and should arrive in 3 to 5 business days. So this is an unstructured data. If you wanted to construct or extract the data, so dear Joe, Joe is the name of it, and here the order, he has ordered something, his order name is this 1000, and on which date he has ordered it, on 1/1/2022, and shipping days will be 3 to 5 business. In the same way, I have another unstructured data, that is Contoso hardware. So this is nothing but an hardware product online store, you can see it, where they can provide the screwdrivers and all these things. So this is an unstructured way of representing the data. So if you wanted to extract that information, then you have to do some kind of more thorough analysis. So in simple terms, structured, you will get 100% information about the 100% clarity about the data. Semi structured, you have to analyze few of the points. When is unstructured, you have to spend more of your time for doing this analysis. So let us see how the data is stored. So if you observe, right, the data is stored in two ways. One is files and the databases. So just imagine, now, if at all your professor was teaching something, how you are going to store that in the form of your notebooks, right? So that is an physical one. But if you go to the digitized way, so what you will do, obviously, you will use a kind of text editors like WordPad or the MS Microsoft Word or some Notepad plus plus or OneNote, like that. So these are technically in online we call it as in files. So in files, the delimited text, okay, so whatever the structure, this first name, last name, email and address, this table will be stored in the form of an comma separated ones. So first name, last name and the email. So these are the column headers, and this is the data, Joe Jones and Joe Litware and all. And also, I said before, the unstructured way of representing the data, which is nothing but JSON, which is nothing but JavaScript object notation. So the same information like the first name, last name and email, I will represent like this. Next, I said before you, like the extensible markup language, where I will store the same customer information in the form of first name as Joe and last name as Joe. And next, binary blob, that is binary large object, which is nothing but, okay, so in order to store your photograph in memory, okay, at the end, even though you are seeing it as an pictorial or text and all, the processor will only understands or the binary language, that is 1010, all ones and zeros only. Okay, so big objects like the big photographs where it has the memory size of more than in MBs and more MBs or GBs and all, they will be stored in a unique kind of object called as binary large object. And another kind of the file storage like the optimized formats, where they are called as avro, ors and parquet. So don't worry about all these formats, but at the end, how this data is stored is in the form of the files. Next is the structured way of uh, saving the data or defining the data. So databases, we call it as a relational databases. In this relation databases, what it will be, right, whatever the data that we have, that particular data will be structured, and also they will be uh, ordered in such a way that, see example, customer Joe has ordered a product. So if you observe this particular line, it goes to the order. That means customer is in. So if you open a customer and if you navigate to the order, he will have this. So this order and customer will have a relationship. If you observe, customer ID is one, and here in the order, customer is nothing but an customer, you can call it as a foreign key, where 1 and 2 has been present. In the same way, for every order, line item will be present, where here the order number will be present in this way, like in line item table, this order is in foreign key. And in the same way, for every product, for every line item, a product will be there. So that means for this line item table, this product is in foreign key. So normalize tables with primary keys to unique identify entities, and this can be, see, one thing you should be very much confident while you are understanding any concepts in relational databases. If at all our data is being organized in a structured way, to retrieve that particular data, it will be very easy. Okay, so retrieval of data, we call it as an in a kind of synonym as an query, and queried and managed using structured query language. Okay, and another one is the non-relational. So for data, so we have this non-relational thing, like if you see, right, the non-relational, like the JSON, simple, you will have this particular data where you don't have any kind of relationship. If you observe, right, the products and customer, for this product and customer there is no relationship there. In the same way, for orders also, I don't see here any kind of relationship that is present. So everything will be if at all any data that is being represented in such a way that only you will get some kind of data where you will not get 100% information of it until and unless you don't analyze it, that we call it as in non-relational. And also we call it as in transactional data workloads. So these transactional data workloads are not, so okay, whatever the data that still in your these previous slides that you saw, right, these are, you can say, these are all the static data. Okay, example here, Joe, all these details will not change. Okay, but there are some kind of transactions where our data has to change every time. Example, I have an bank account. If I am performing any kind of online transactions, what it will perform, if I pay to some person, automatically the amount should be debited in my account, so that at any point of time, if you observe, you will have the real time data. So that's why we call that particular data as in transactional data. Okay, so data is stored in a database in an online transactional processing, OLTP operations, which is nothing but, just as an example, like just read the product table to display catalog. Example, if you are going for a library, your librarian might have some kind of system that is automated, such that if he inquires about for one particular book, he will automatically get the information, like, okay, how many books are available. Okay, so how it is possible, if at all any particular book has been issued to any student, then automatically that book count should be decreased. Example, I have 10 books. One student, Lakshit, went to the library, and he has requested for a book, and the librarian has given order and has issued that particular book. Now the total count of books real time should be 10 minus 1, that is 9. That we call it as a transactional data. And also for data, if you are going for any transactions, so transactions are every time acid based. Acid means atomicity, consistency, isolation, and durability. That means atomicity means every transaction is treated as a single unit of works. That means uh, it will succeeds completely or fails completely. Example, I am paying to one particular transaction. What it will do, right? Either it succeeds or it will fails. That we call it as an atomicity. Next is consistency. Consistency means whatever the data that is present in the database, that data only will be taken by the transaction. Isolation means, example, if I am performing multiple transactions at a time, so one transaction is not at all dependent on another transaction, that we call it as an concurrent transact as an isolation uh, principle, where we call it as an concurrent means at a time I am performing multiple transactions. Next is the durability. That means when a transaction has succeeded, the data changes are persisted in the database. Next, okay. So you can ask me a question. Okay, sir, Venkat, you said about the data. You said about the data that is being transacted, everything and all. Okay, now if all this data is present, we every time we used to hear about the data analytics. Data analytics is a top priority, and data analytics very much important for any kind of organization. How it is? Okay, so imagine I have an big organization. Okay, just take an example of an Indian product, or just as an Amazon, or Amazon, if you are going for an Amazon retail store, or if you are going for any kind of, okay, if you are taking an Microsoft certifications, right? So, number of people around the world, they will take the Microsoft certifications. So, to take any particular certification, every person has to register for it. So, that particular data should be saved in kind of a database. So, okay, it is not hundreds, it is not thousands of records, it is lakhs. It will be an crores of records might also be present. So in order to save them in a small database that is not present, not suitable, so in that case, all this particular data will be stored in an you can say an big kind of databases. You can say it as, we can call it as in data warehouses. So also these data files will be stored in an central data lake for its analysis. So generally, right, you keep on, once you come out of this particular college and you join in any companies, if there is any big data is present, uh, if you are performing any kind of data analytics, you keep on hearing like extract, transform and load. That is the ETL process. So this ETL process, what it will do, right, it copies the data from files and OLTP databases into a data warehouse that is optimized for a read activity. Okay, and this data is present in an such a way that it will be very organized. If you observe, right, so this is my relational database and this is the flat database, and these are DLs or nothing but files. It will all collectively go and sit in a data warehouse, and this data warehouse is nothing but an picture, you can see, like in cube. That means every side of this particular cube, you can say, a layer of data. And how it is useful is the fourth ways, like the data in the data lake or data warehouse and analytical world can be queried to produce the reports and the dashboards. Okay, like, okay, if at all any particular manager or any person that comes and asks you, okay, we have these many sales are present, I wanted to see on which particular data, this particular, on which particular day I have more sales, and on which product we have uh, more trend is going on, and on which particular products that we don't have stocks. All these things that we can get them in the form of the reports. So just a knowledge check. I will keep a pause here. So how is the data in a relations table organized? Rows and columns, header and footer, pages and paragraphs. And second question, which of the following is an example of unstructured data? A comma delimited text file with employee ID, employee name, employee designation fields, audio and video files, a table within relational database. And what is a data warehouse? It is a non-relation database optimized for read and write operations, and a relational database optimized for read operation. and a storage location for unstructured data files. I will keep a pause of 1 minute here so that so that you can think about it. So I have not at all explained anything new. These are all the things that you have already know about it, but in specific, you are saying it as an particular Azure point of view.
So, sir, we have one question. So, do you like to take it up this question right now?
Yes, please.
So, which DB transaction property ensures that individual transactions are executed only once and either succeeded in their eternity?
Okay. Uh, can you post that particular question,
So, let
Lakshit?
me do it. Like it's on the screen if you can see.
Yes, yes. Hmm. So I said to you right in the before one.
Yes, sir.
Okay, this one consistency property will make
Yes,
sure
sir.
for making these transactions as valid, and also the isolation, that is concurrent transaction. These two plays an important role. Hope I have answered this question. Okay,
Okay, so
it's
we are getting some answers in the chat like rows and columns, audio
mhm.
video files, and third is a RDBMS optimized for read operations.
Okay. So let me reveal the answers. So the first one is the rows and columns. Second one is the audio and video files, and the third one is uh, relation database optimized for read operations. Good. So yes, the participants are very much on the top of the concept. Next, see about the data roles and the services. So here, I said you right before. Uh, okay, in the previous slides, we saw about how the data is present, structured, non-structured, and semi-structured, how this data can be stored, and how this data will be stored in different formats, how this data will be stored in data warehouses, how ETL will be performed. Okay, now the second part is to maintain this particular data, we have an professional people also present. Okay, those are called as an database administrator, data engineer, and data analyst. Okay, so don't take it into a lighter note like, okay, this is small data. Okay, just we are storing the data and we are retrieving the data. So we don't have any kind of specific roles that are present. See, to maintain the data databases and also to perform this ETL process, to analyze your data, we have in specific roles that are present. We call this as data professional roles, and these roles are very much important for any particular data analysis. One is database administrator. What they will do, right, specifically database creation, configuring the data, and how they will maintain the data. Like example, if the data is getting filled, uh, then they keep on increasing that particular data. And at time, so security will also be important for the database. So this database administrator, we call it as DB admins, or they will do this one, and they will take the backups, and also they will also take care of the performance monitor and optimizations. So in future, if you are aiming at a database administrator kind of professional role, you should have an envisioning of the core strength of this one. Now I said, okay, I don't want data admin. Then we have a data engineer. I know you are all engineers only. So every engineer, data engineer, what they will do, right? They will perform data integration pipelines. They will do the ETL process. They will do a data cleansing. Data cleansing means I have all okay, unstructured data is present. They will make whatever the data that is required, and they cleanse it and make it as in structured one. And also analytical data store schemas and data loads. So in order to perform any particular data, okay, so if I wanted to migrate the data from one system to another system, then we should have a schema for it. Okay, just simple. Imagine if you wanted to reach to an college from your home, what you will have in your mind, there will be some map that will be present. Okay, I have to take the bus, and I have to take a, or else I have to take a two-wheeler, I have to take a four-wheeler, and then I have to travel to this particular route so that I can reach to the college. In the same way, for any data uh, to transfer from one database to another database, we need a schema for it. So schema is nothing but a definition of that particular data. Okay, how this particular data has been arranged, and how I can store that, but how I can uh, share that particular or import and export that particular data in between the two database. Next is the data analyst. What its main is analytical modeling, and for data reporting and summarization and data visualization. Okay, so till before 2000s or 2005, like that, this database administrators is the main people that you will keep on listening. But from 2010 2015 onwards, this data engineers and data analysts will also become an crucial. Okay, now let us go into important thing. Okay, you can ask me a question. Okay, Venkat, Microsoft Azure cloud, it is present. Okay, data is present. From Microsoft perspective, what Microsoft is giving a kind of cloud services. So service means just there is nothing, there is no need for you to scratch everything uh, from the square zero, square one, but just with a nominal amount, just you pay it, then you will get service. Example, to get an internet to your home, what you will provide, just you will pay some amount, obviously the respective person will come and provide the service to you. In the same way, Microsoft also provide the cloud services for data. How to store your data? We have an Azure SQL. SQL is Azure SQL, we call generally as a SQL. SQL means structured query language, which is family of SQL server based relation database services. And other than Azure SQL, it will also provide Azure database for open source, that is MariaDB, MySQL, and PostgreSQL. So don't worry about the names, but you keep on hearing whenever you are working on any kind of open source, this MariaDB, MySQL, and PostgreSQL. Next is Azure Cosmos DB, which is a highly scalable and non-relational database system. That means, obviously, right? So if you have some data and to make it as a structure, it is an some kind of an costly process. But at times we will not get that particular time to make that every data into an structured one. So for that, we Microsoft provide a cloud services called as Azure Cosmos DB. And next is Azure Storage. That means if you wanted to store big files like the MBs in a in an size of MBs 128 MB GB, like that, and for blob, that is big pictures and all big video files and table storage, and we have this Azure storage. So these are Microsoft cloud services for data in the form of data stores. And coming to the data engineering and analytics, see, data stores, mainly database administrator will take care. Data engineer and analytics, this will be data engineer and the data analyst they will be using. So data engineer, Azure Data Factory, they will perform the data pipelines, they will construct the data pipelines. Next is another cloud service for the data engineers is Azure Synapse Analytics, which will have the pipelines, SQL, Apache Spark, and Data Explorer. Okay, simply Azure Data Factory data pipelines, that means main concentration here, right, just to make arrange the pipeline so that from one source to another source, how you can uh, transfer the data. If you go for the Azure Synapse, not only the pipelines but also for integrated and also end to end analytics also you can give it. And also Azure Databricks, where Apache Spark Analytics and data processing will also be present. This is another cloud service. And also we have an from Azure open source platform is also present. Open source means non-Microsoft you can consider as. Okay, like we have the Java related or the Oracle or another things where they will perform. That means any kind of products you can readily use it without taking any kind of licenses. That we called as an open source. But also here a caveat is, if you are working on any kind of open source things, you should be very much tentative, or we should be very much alert on uh, of its particular consequences and all. That we called as Azure IHD inside. Next is analytics. We have the Azure Stream Analytics. Simple, all these bold color things. Azure Stream Analytics, Data Explorer, Azure Purview, and Microsoft Power BI. These are all the list of cloud services provided for data by the Microsoft. And here Microsoft Power BI, it will provide the analytical data modeling and also interactive data visualization. It will provide it. Again, I'll take a pause of 1 minute here. So first one, which one of the following tasks is the responsibility of a database administrator? Backing up and restoring database, creating dashboards and reports, creating pipelines. Next is, which role is most likely to use Azure Data Factory to define a data pipeline for ETL, a data admin, data engineer, or data analyst. Next, which single service would you use to implement data pipelines, SQL Analytics, and Spark Analytics? Azure SQL Database, Microsoft Power BI, and Azure Synapse Analytics. Okay, so for the interest of time, just I will reveal the details here. So, database administrator for backing up and restoring databases, and ETL process Azure Data Factory, it is data engineer, and for analytics and Spark Analytics, it will be Azure Synapse Analytics. So if you have any questions here, right, with this, I have given an the brief and also the overview of this DP900 for the session one, that is on day one. So if you have any queries, you can ask me.
So, sir, we do have some answers there like backup and restore DB, data
Mhm.
engineer. Okay, you have already revealed the answers. Still, we have got the answers in the chat box also. And Azure Synapse Analytics.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. So do you have any questions, Lakshit? Do you see in it?
So, guys, if you have any questions for sir, please feel free to drop your question in the comment section.
Okay, and also I will share the respective details to Lakshit, like where you can get this particular documentation. Like the Microsoft Learn is a beautiful place where you will get each and everything documentation. Definitely, there will not any person required for you to guide. Obviously, everything will be present in the Learn, MS Learn, and also and also I will provide this as your community for you, where if you wanted to have to see any kind of projects and all, that you can see it. And as well as I will also provide the Azure uh, YouTube channel as well, where you can get these more details.
So, sir, we have few questions in the chat box. Which products are used for the same purpose but licensing is different? So, it's in the front of your screen.
Mhm. See, actually, Taspinar, it is a generic question. Okay, so example, right? Okay, to store this particular data, we have multiple providers that are present. Okay, so let me go back to here and give you an example here. see, okay, here example here to store data. Okay, I have Azure SQL is there, and to store data, MariaDB is present. To store data, I have my SQL is there. To store data, I have most PostgreSQL is there. Okay, so licensing for Azure SQL, you should have the licensing, but there are open source. Open source database means licensing is not required, where you can use it. But these databases generally will be used for an small kind of applications. Okay, the thing is, if at all, if you see the basic difference for the paid and the non-paid ones or the open source one, right? Uh, if you have the license, if there are any issues that you face it immediately, if you raise any particular tickets, you will get an ultimate response from that respective licensing provider. Hope I have answered your question. So do we have
Yes,
any
sir. So
other
we
questions,
do have
Nikhil?
one question along with this. It is regarding the Power BI. So how we can use efficiently on Power BI? So efficiently on Power BI. So any insights
Correct.
about Power BI, sir?
Right. As I said, right, Power BI. I have this data. Data is present in database. After that particular database, the data is being arranged on that particular data to extract the beautiful reports, and to have a dashboard kind of representation to drill down, that means in between the reports and all, we use from Microsoft, that is Power BI. Okay, which we call it as in business intelligence. That means based upon the data itself, there are certain algorithms that are already present, where the business intelligence is in a backend you can consider, which will analyze your data and it will show it. Okay, so we have, I will be going to consider about this Microsoft Power BI in my third session of in my coming sessions, where you will also get more information about this particular Power BI. But in short, for interactive data visualization and also the analytical data modeling, Microsoft Power BI will be used, but it needs a license. Okay.
Okay, so sir, one question I have for you, like I was also working with the Azure dashboard. So if we are working on an Azure dashboard, but according to like if we are dealing with suppose 3,000 to 5,000 data peoples, or means data of 3,000 to 5,000 people. So what's the best service we should use?
See, based again, it is an very vast question that you have asked. So everything depends upon, if it is 1,000, 5,000 records like that, we can directly use starting from a normal Azure. You can use Azure SQL, SQL for the normal one, and also if you have this, okay, just it is a small college project and it is an non-commercial product, then you can also go for the open source, where the data is not in limit. 5,000, 10,000 records, maybe in a few lakhs of records also you can easily maintain it, that you will not have any restriction for it. But there is a database size will be present, like 2 GB or something, based upon the type that you take it, free or premium or licensed. It depends upon that one.
So also I was facing some errors while I was migrating from GCP to Azure. While I was transferring the data from GCP to Azure, I was facing some issues like some data packets was lost there. So how to deal with this? Any Azure tips you have?
Correct. So I said to you before, right? If you have the licensed one of the Azure SQL or the Azure, if you have taken for this Azure Data Factory, Azure Synapse, or Databricks and HD Insight, if you have this particular license that is being taken, obviously there will, if you raise one particular support ticket with the Microsoft, they will help you to provide you uh, the backup and restore the things of this particular files, because these are all the cloud services, right? Periodically Microsoft will take that respective data backups and all. Still, if your issue is not resolved, right, there are certain things that you should take care. I- Still, if you cannot consider it, don't worry. If you raise a ticket to the Microsoft, they will help you to guide you. Okay.
Yes, sir. So one last question we have. Can you please tell me in Power BI collections of visuals can be called as dashboard or report or title? So it's in the screen here.
Correct. So you can say, right, yes, collection of visuals is called an dashboard, and each and every in each visual you can call it as an report, and you can call in the dashboard we have the different tiles are present. In a tile you can embed a report, or else you can also embed any other details as well.
Yeah. So, sir, about the blob storage, shell means can we only store the non-relational database in the blob storage? Like if we are if I'm making a meme fetching API, if I'm using a meme fetching API, so shall I use the blob storage for that because I'm randomly picking any image from there?
Right, simple. Storage means don't go for storage means if at all see, irrespective of the logic that you use, if you are going for this blob storage, in this blob storage you can have any flat files, you can have any spreadsheets, you can have any images or videos, you simply you can process them.
Okay. Okay, so that's what I was asking. So thank you, sir. That's it for the day one. So guys, I hope you enjoyed a lot. If suppose anyone has any questions, we will be very happy to take on the second day of our boot camp. So that's it for today's session, guys. Thank you, sir. Thank you for joining in and giving your incredible insights about Azure data and about DP900 exam. And we'll be covering up the rest of the syllabus on the next 2 days that we have left for tomorrow and day after tomorrow. And we'll be sharing some links on the last day of the boot camp. So you have to fill the feedback form for the speaker, guys, and we'll be definitely sharing to the mail. So please be attentive to your mail. And thank you, sir. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for giving your precious time to our community, for the community people, for the college communities. So it was very nice gesture from your side, and really looking forward for the day two of the session, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Lakshit. Thanks everybody. Have a
Thank
nice
you,
day.
sir.